Welcome to another episode of Core Discussions. I'm Legacy.
And I'm Max.
Big Joshy.
Alright, and today we're doing Core Reviews. We are reviewing the most recent Marvel movie, Thor, Love and Thunder. So you got us three. We are the only ones of the group that have seen it. So the others, who knows if they're going to see it. But, you know, we're trying to get this out quickly. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
Well, it is a solid movie in the MCU. I give it a good, as a standalone hero film. I think it's definitely better than the first two Thors. Mm-hmm. I can't say if it's better than Ragnarok because if you saw our MCU film review, you watch that, then you know I keep Ragnarok in high regard. So I can't say whether or not it's that good, but as far as the film itself, it was very comedic. Sometimes it was over the top, like just a few jokes that they just kept pushing over the film. But they did a good job on the villain. Christian Bale was a great cast selection. I can't see anyone else probably portraying that. And I do wish he had more screen time.
Yes. That was one of the main things. I think the joke you were talking about that they kept overdoing was the screaming goats thing, which I thought, I was like, okay, the first few times, and then when they hit the planet and at the end they did it again, I'm like, oh my God, would you stop? But no, I agree. Christian Bale was like, he's only in like probably maybe less than 10 scenes total, I would bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could have been in it more. He had a very good scene near the end when he was talking to Valkyrie, Lady Thor, and then Thor. I thought that was his best scene. But then also, he's practically hardly even a villain, really. If in the beginning of the movie, they set him up to be a story there because his daughter, he was the last two of their race, and they prayed to a god, and his daughter died. And then he finally got a chance to meet that god, and his god did not care about him. He just pretty much said his life was worthless. His life only mattered because he praised him.
Well, even at the first, he says, this is one I created. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever, there's going to be a bunch more.
Yeah, so
if I lose you, there's a bunch more that praise me.
Exactly. So you understand Gore's motives of being like, why he wants all the gods to die, because he says they don't care about us, so they all need to die.
Yeah, and that's how the film opens with the Gore backstory, showing him and his daughter dying in a wasteland desert. And you really get a feel for, sympathy for the villain, even though, like Max said, he's not even really like a villain. But
the kidnapping the kids is bad, but like other than that, I mean,
bad guys do bad things.
Hardly a villain. His motives are relatable. If my daughter died in that way, I would be motivated by this evil sword that would give me powers to slay gods. I would probably start killing off some gods.
Yeah, and let's not forget the Necro Sword is also what kind of consumes that evil energy as it slowly kills him over time, corrupting his body, his mind. And I mean, obviously he was going to kill some gods. That was in his plan. And apparently there was supposed to be there was probably a lot of bonus film footage. They were supposed to be on a lot of different worlds with a lot of different gods and showing the butcher in Gore, but they didn't get to the cutting room floor. So
the movie was only 2 hours long,
which is unfortunate because technically we only see him kill one god in the movie.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the other one we're just left wondering.
Yeah, he said he killed other ones, but we don't see it personally, so we know he did it. But
so I broke down the movie. Obviously, we went through the Gore backstory. And then right after that, we get into the Korg narration of the film, showing the dad bod to God bod, back to God bod again.
One thing's funny on that. I remember after Endgame, when Thor got fat, some people were saying that they were hoping that Thor wouldn't just montage his way back to fitness because they thought it was just using fat people as a joke. But then Kevin Feige said he wouldn't just montage it back, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't want to see half a movie with Fat Thor. No, it was funny. I'm sorry. The joke was funny in Endgame. Yeah. I wasn't trying to see another movie with him. No.
And Getting on the bodies, they took that all the way to the backs when Zeus snapped away his robe.
Jesus, that dude is freaking yoked out of
You
his mind.
get some Chris Hemsworth cheeks there with a pretty cool back tattoo. In remembrance of Loki. I like that part. So yeah, you got Korg, and he's doing his narration. Of course, there's the beginning part with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I felt like that could have been longer as well.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they were doing a lot less than I thought, because leading at the end of the game, you're like, okay, we'll get like an Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah, right.
And they kind of were just like in the first 15 minutes or so. And
Exactly. So they cut through that really quick. These are just my grievances with the film.
Yeah.
But I did I liked how they did the king of the one planet that they were on. Just his like facial reactions to what Thor was saying. He's like, "Oh,
I know,
he's
right?
intrigued."
It's getting a little excited.
Exactly. It was a mix of both.
And about your temples, don't talk about the temples.
Yeah, don't talk about the temples. Yeah, basically Thor just destroys their 3 glass or whatever material it was. It was an alien, so. But basically, it was like a glass, like temples, and they were just beautiful to look at, and you can't look at them anymore. So after that, you get to what's going on with Jane Foster, and that's like straight out of the comic books. The Mighty Thor line with her having cancer, she's basically getting her chemo treatment. And then Darcy shows up, and that's a good little cameo too. She wasn't like actually in the film, just that one scene, but it was good to see her. And then of course Eric Selvig as well. And for her, just I don't know. I feel like Marvel's hitting it on the nose with these just like disability type things, like cancer, like no hearing, like stuff like that.
I saw an article that said like this phase 4 has been a complete mess.
That's what the main gripe is right now, because all of these different story arcs are happening. The only problem I have is with what happened in the Loki series. Like apparently that was supposed to break the timeline, and I mean everything's just been contained. Yet. Yeah, everything's been contained to, I think, what is it, Earth 616?
Yeah, it's 616.
Yeah, so everything's been contained there, but I feel like this phase has been, they got through the Infinity Saga, and you can't just build that up like, it's going to take some time. So of course, all these stories are going in their own directions.
Well, and if people remember, Thanos was not introduced till the end of phase 1. We didn't even, so I don't even know what the complaint is. And there,
which is what, about 6 or so movies?
Yeah, which was like, you got several movies, so all of the movies went through before we even knew who the big bad was. So start there.
Exactly.
And the next one is, what you have to also consider is, they're also having to plan because X-Men and Fantastic Four are coming. Like, well, there's a lot happening. And they said they're going to probably chill with the team-ups for a while.
I don't think
I think Feige had said you're probably not going to see as many like the Avengers movie like we did last time as quickly. Because you're going to have, you just lost Captain America, you just lost Iron Man, you now have to rebuild with like who's the next Avengers and let everybody else shine,
Chadwick Boseman's death made that very difficult because I felt like he was about to take over. He was about to take over the MCU and be that next leader type.
He probably would have been like the Captain America.
But I mean, we're still supposed to get Ant-Man Quantumania next year, and that's supposed to be an Avengers
I think that may be
level.
where the Loki thing comes in.
Yeah, exactly. The King and Conqueror.
Because all this is probably happening at the same time.
Exactly.
But back to the movie at hand. I will say this is actually my favorite Thor. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. I think for me, here was the thing. Because everybody knows, like, now again, I wasn't like D3 who, like, absolutely hated Thor Ragnarok. But it was one of my lower ranking movies because I think the comedy got me a bit because I was just able to telegraph the comedy at one point. And it just was like, eh. The funny thing is, this one's comedy actually worked for me. And I think this is why it worked, is because it went back to kind of more who Thor is. Of his comedy is, like, unintentional. Of a lot of his jokes were he was not self-aware of what he was saying is like a diss. or like something you shouldn't say. And it was kind of more in that realm. And, you know, the early bits was like, okay, yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, that comedy fits because you have the Guardians right there. Like, when he comes in to stop the fight and that, like, that whole bit he's doing, like, destroying all the aliens, that's kind of funny. And then he does that split to stop the ships. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny.
Don't expect me to do a split.
And then he's like talking, we did it as a team, guys. And they're all like rolling their eyes like, oh, God, this guy. So that was it. And then the whole stuff with him and Stormbreaker. That was good. They played it a little much at times, but it was kind of funny.
It was kind of like a love triangle type deal. Like, that's your ex. That's your actual ex. And then there's your new hammer.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mjolnir, I loved how they did that. That was so dope, the way it would break apart.
Yeah, and I also thought it was, because I was wondering how they would do it, the Mjolnir come to Jane Foster. I thought it was cool the way they made it, where Thor accidentally, unknowingly enchanted it by saying to protect Jane at all costs, so that made the hammer like, okay.
I think he was drunk when he said that,
probably,
too.
Yeah, like he didn't know he did it, but, you know, the hammer listened.
Yeah, and that was during their, like, it was kind of like a little rom-com type scene, like going in the backstory of what happened after the events of Thor: The Dark World, like where they're actually dating. Thor's coming to Earth to visit, and like I thought that was cool to see how the relationship actually did work. And I liked the another joke how they brought back from Ragnarok the actors doing the play.
Oh yeah.
So you got Matt Damon as Loki. And then they bring in Melissa McCarthy as Hela. And I love how they just put on this whole production. And, basically, New Asgard kind of turns into this like tourist attraction type deal. But you know, why not? You know, you're from Earth or you're aliens out of space, and you know, why not make a little money on the side? You got the battle. I thought that was a cool battle.
Which one?
The first one where Thor comes down. And then the people cheer, and then Mighty Thor comes down, and then they cheer again. Thor's like, wait, what? And that's when he first sees Mjolnir for the first time, and that's when he sees Jane for the first time, but he doesn't realize it's her. And then he's like, before he realizes, I guess he like one-ups, like puts out the, I guess you could call it like the Rune King Thor type outfit with the gold and blue, and those shadow monsters. Cool. I thought they were, you know, very sneaky, snarly. The way they came up and stole the children. Yeah, I thought that was a cool little moment there.
And we get introduced to Heimdall's son there too.
Yeah,
he's one of the kids that get taken. Yeah.
Well, his
Astrid.
name is it's Astrid, but in reference to Guns N' Roses, he goes by Axel. And the fact that they gave him Heimdall's powers too,
that's very cool.
Where he can basically, I guess, farsight. Yeah, you know, see anything and everything.
And he can,
but he doesn't know how to control them yet.
Yeah. He's starting to, at least with the projection when he reaches Thor, he can control somewhat.
Yeah. Well, he can also do the Bifrost. Or near the end, he could.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So you kind of still have that, and I was like, I thought the kid who played it was pretty good. Well, he was good.
Oh yeah,
like I wasn't complaining. I was like, okay, cool.
I was like, when did Heimdall have the time to make this?
That part's kind of maybe.
I mean, they lived for like 500 years or so. Thousands.
Yeah.
You know, so somewhere in there, he probably found a way.
I don't need everything explained. He did something with someone
off screen, and that's cool with me. Yeah. And then we get the return of Lady Sif. People were always like wondering where she was, like the last.
She's missing
10
something,
years.
though.
She's missing an arm, and we do get a little explanation on Valhalla because she said, "Let me die a warrior's death," and she's like, "But you're not, fighting anymore."
He survived, so.
You're not going to Valhalla right now.
But then after the kids get taken, they go to Omnipotent City, which is where all the gods are. Every god, and there's even a dumpling god.
Yeah. That was a reference to the Pixar Bow The
Oh, was
dumpling?
it?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
read
I didn't
that.
know that was maybe somewhere in Marvel they have a dumpling comic. I don't know. But
I like the god that they showed of the Cronins. Korg's race.
Korg, yeah.
He was sitting on a throne of scissors.
Oh yeah.
And
I didn't even notice that.
he was.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like Game of Thrones, but I think it was more of a reference
Because
to.
Rock beat scissors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
From Ragnarok, the joke that
Oh,
Korg had
man, I
made.
missed it.
You shouldn't be afraid unless you're made of paper or scissors. You shouldn't be afraid unless you're made of scissors. So yeah, you get to see all the gods in Omnipotent City, and then there's this big reveal of Zeus. And you get to see Thor's reaction because he's kind of like a hero to him.
He's a fanboy.
Yeah, he's like, I base everything I do off of this guy.
Which I like their dress. Like they're how
God of,
similar.
God of Lightning, God of Thunder.
And then you get a pretty cool scene. Of course, we were talking about it earlier when he flicked his clothes off.
Yep.
And I probably should, family friendly. I'm not going to say what a bunch of guys do in their free time.
Well, the point is Thor's not invited anymore.
I think we've kind of forgotten like how good of an actor Russell Crowe is because he killed it. He was hilarious.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
voice choice or accent choice.
Oh yeah, yeah. The accent was pretty, but I think kind of played to the character
I think,
very well.
I think it's because
too.
it's kind of cliche to have this loud, deep, boisterous voice for Zeus. So he kind of changed it as more soft and.
Yeah.
I don't even know what accent it would be, but it's definitely out there.
But it really just played to like Zeus of like what you would think, and then wait, this is who Zeus is. Like,
and he's out of shape and all.
Yeah,
that.
he's out of shape, kind of all this, and then keeps talking about their party they're gonna have later.
We'll call it. But anyway, the point of going to the city was that they were going to recruit gods to help them rescue the children from Gore. And none of the gods want to help. Zeus says, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And Zeus angers Thor to the point where when Zeus goes to throw the lightning bolt at Thor, he catches it and throws it right through Zeus.
Yeah, because he killed what he thought he killed.
Yeah.
Allegedly, but of course.
That is one thing that they did a little much, which I'm glad they actually did kill somebody off in this movie, which we'll get there in a minute. But they did have multiple fake outs in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
With Valkyrie, Korg, Zeus, and I guess you could count Lady Sif too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought she was done for. I didn't think they were going to get her back in time.
So that was like, okay, that's a little,
Yeah.
much
More
so.
of a staple,
If the one person who we'll talk about a little bit later didn't die, I was going to be upset. I'm like, okay, we had 5 fake outs. I mean, this is enough.
Like somebody needs
Besides
to
the
die.
villain.
Besides the villain. But the villain always dies. The villain usually dies.
That's
So
what I'm
that's
saying.
nothing. But here, somebody needs to die. All right. And then they steal they take the lightning bolt and head off to the dark, what was it?
I forget what they call it.
I'm going to just call it the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, that's what
I think that's what's something around that.
Yeah. Because it's not like the Dark Dimension. That's from Doctor Strange.
Because this is completely black and white, which is cool to see the battle there be completely in black and white, besides a few bits of color.
I liked when he came in with the kids because he really was creepy. You really saw why they picked Christian Bale. And if you remember our acting, when we did favorite actors, is one reason why I really enjoyed, because you saw a very big range of Christian Bale of different parts with his character that was really good.
Yeah, and I think when they do that little scene in the Shadow Realm, obviously, so you have Valkyrie, Thor, and then Jane Foster, Thor, Mighty Thor, and they're kind of exploring this tent type deal. But they're all on 10, on guard. You never know what's gonna pop out, and of course here comes some freaky Shadow Realm creatures, or you guys kind of like that Stranger Things moment where they wrap them up in the vines type deal. But that got me. I was like, oh god, they got him. But you really understand Gore's plan at this point. He's really just trying to lure Thor there so that he can steal the key to where he's trying to go. With basically he needs Stormbreaker to do it, because
Stormbreaker can, in this movie they introduced that Stormbreaker can control the Bifrost, and that's how Thor travels. So Gore needs that because he needs to reach this place called Eternity, because the first person to reach Eternity gets a wish. And Gore wants to wish all the gods to die.
Well, this one they explain it. The first in Infinity War they introduced it because he teleports them through
with
Storm with
through the Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
But this one they explained it.
Eitri said, in theory, it could summon the power of the Bifrost. Is what he said. So of course that's how they get to Earth using the Stormbreaker. So and that's Infinity War. But they really more touch on it in this film. So I like how they did that, and that's how the story advances to the end.
So then you have that like crushing scene because you find out when you see that scene with Lady Thor back in the hospital, because you also find out that her being Lady Thor or the Mighty Thor is taking her life and is actually is not allowing her to kind of beat the cancer, and if she tries to do it again, it's essentially going to kill her.
Yeah. And each time she becomes Thor, it drains her human life. So
basically it kills the chemotherapy that is in her body because it's kind of like a foreign object, so that, and it speeds up the cancer to where that last fight where they were on the Shadow Realm planet type deal. She basically that was it. Like, she's got one more time, and that's you can't do it. You're gonna die. So you got like a MacGuffin type deal, and it becomes like a important part of the film. Like now you have Jane Foster trying to make these important decisions as to how she's going to. Either am I going to live or am I going to risk it one more time, to save these children? And, obviously, she doesn't come in right away. They get, Thor uses the power of the lightning bolt to travel to the place of where Eternity lives. And you see a lot of cool statues there. I know the Living Tribunal was one, Death was one. I think Eternity or Infinity. I guess Eternity's twin or whatever, however that works. Well, read a comic book. Don't ask me. That was one of the statues. So then you got Thor and these kids, and you probably get one of my favorite moments in the film where he enchants the children
temporarily.
Whoever should be worthy temporarily have the powers of Thor. And you get to see these kids go wild. Oh my god!
With like the rabbit.
Oh man, Axel or Astrid, whichever he goes by, he had a cool little scene jumping in. Oh, that was like that.
They're over there throwing weapons to each other, catching the sleigh.
I'm sure Jacob and some of the others will hate it.
But. Oh yeah. Oh gosh, we'll probably go. But that part was funny. That was great. That was like awesome when you see all of them just like light up, the lightning go around their eyes. I was like, oh, this is gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, they're fighting those shadow creatures. So not that they're just like random like soldiers getting dead, but that gives Thor time to fight Gore and try to stop him from using Stormbreaker to open the key to the hole to eternity. So I thought that was a cool little scene. Like you got the kids doing their thing, Thor doing his thing, but it's still not enough. And earlier in the film, they made a reference to the Pegasus horse that Valkyrie uses as it being like a portal horse, because I guess the horse can open portals. So here comes Mighty Thor riding in on Pegasus, and they go crazy. That's probably one of the best fight scenes in the film. You get to see the power of Mjolnir break the Necrosword. That was crazy there.
She gets to deliver her one-liner. They do a running joke with her having bad one-liners. So.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's still not enough. Stormbreaker opens the hole to eternity. And Gore, Thor, and Mighty Thor are standing there. And you feel like Gore's about to get his wish. That's what I felt like. I was like, oh no, is this the end of Thor? Oh. But then you see Jane lying there dying, and Thor makes this little speech about love, and that just happens to be Gore's daughter's name. I didn't know that at the time, but that was a cool little, double entendre And basically, he's like, you can bring love back. And instead of using your wish on destroying all the gods, that's what he chooses to do. He brings back his daughter, and
I was glad they did. Again, like I said, Gore is like, you understand his motivations and everything. And I thought the movie, even though Christian Bale's not in it much, and the daughter dies in the very beginning, you do feel his pain throughout the whole movie of him missing his daughter. So I thought I liked at the end how he wished her back, and they had that one final scene of like, he said, "I missed you so much." So I thought that it was a good. Nice. I gave him his little last moment before, because he dies because the sword kills you eventually, and if the sword's destroyed, you're destroyed.
Yeah.
But I liked that they had that moment at the end. So I thought they did his death pretty well. They gave Natalie Portman or Jane Foster her moment with Thor. So they finally like got over all their issues in the past. They finally reconciled the word I'm looking for. So it's nice to see that. So now Thor and Jane won't have to deal with that pain anymore.
Mm-hmm. So that was good, and I liked how it showed, because essentially Gore is a human.
He's some sort of
some rights, but similar to humans,
yeah.
but very similar to humans, and it showed like wielding these weapons for a human would take life force. Like Jane, the hammer Mjolnir took a lot of Jane's life force to be Thor, because Jane is not a god, essentially, so it took her life force. Granted, she was also sick, but like even it would show even a regular human try to be Thor that long, it would take their life force as well with it. It would still affect them, as well as him with the sword. It's like it kind of still like these weapons are strong, but they will take their life force, and it's the reason certain people can hold them for so long is because they're extra beings or gods, essentially. So
yeah, and bouncing off of that, I felt like Waititi stayed true to his word. Like, he gave the lore in the film for what those weapons would do, and then he did it. Like, they end up dying because the Necro Sword gets destroyed, or Gore ends up dying, and then Thor, Mighty Thor, ends up dying because she becomes Thor one last time, and it's too much.
Yeah,
it's just too much for her body to take. And she can't fight off the cancer anymore. And I didn't think she was going to die then.
I don't think she was going to die.
I thought they might get her back and try to treat her one last time or something. But no, she was gone to Valhalla. But I like how they, bring it back to New Asgard one last time. You see Lady Sif training Axel, Astrid, and then you see the kids training as well with weapons. They're, going through their little Shang-Chi.
yeah.
So you got all these little warriors about to, get into their own.
And then it goes full circle to the end when him and Love are running out into battle. Ready. And she has Stormbreaker, he has Mjolnir.
Yeah. Thor adopts Gore's daughter, and she calls him Uncle Thor at the end, but then they go back. She has powers now, because when she got wished back from eternity, that gave her powers.
She became a god.
She became a piece of eternity's cosmic, it's a cosmic being, so you get a piece of that.
So maybe they're setting her up to be the Thor of the young Avengers if they do that. Which they have so many young.
They keep pushing this young agenda that I'm kind of like, are they trying to do something?
Yeah, obviously we could see it. It's Young Avengers.
Yeah, I mean they have so many freaking young people.
Yeah, you just pushed Axel, so I figure you're probably going to do something with him later.
You got two people from this movie. You got
Miss Marvel,
Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel,
America Chavez.
So they might be. That's like the next generation of like.
So that's definitely coming.
Young Avengers is on the way. But I think that the little Easter egg there with that actually being Chris Hemsworth's daughter who's playing Love, I thought that was pretty
that
cool.
has to be fun for him too.
Right? You're gonna act on screen with your daughter.
And
so obviously you don't have to worry about the chemistry.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that covers the whole film.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the main film.
And then you got your after credit scenes
with Hercules.
Yeah.
Which I was wondering why they didn't reveal Hercules or show Hercules at all.
They mentioned him earlier.
Because they mentioned him, I was like, they didn't even show Hercules. And I was like, why didn't they? And then you see Zeus getting ready, and you see the next Thor movie, Hercules is going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope it's like a curveball where Hercules, like, obviously there'll be a pretty few fight scenes with him and Thor, but maybe he's going after like Thor and the Avengers, and then he realizes that he's on the wrong side of things. Things aren't what they are, and then maybe it'll be like Thor, Hercules versus Zeus. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. I'll leave that to the creative.
I wouldn't mind if they did let Zeus get his lightning bolt, and we see a bad Zeus of like Russell Crowe, of like he's like I'm coming after them too. Of like I wouldn't mind if they did something like that, and Thor like them versus several of the gods as well.
Yeah.
And then the second end credit scene is Jane Foster, Natalie Portman, and she's in this gown type deal. And then she sees a familiar face, and the camera pans to Heimdall, and he's in a nice little Asgardian gown type deal. And he's like, basically, you made it to Valhalla. You gain entry.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason they might have showed Valhalla on screen is if they might be bringing her back. So they'll be able, just like in Moon Knight, where they travel between the afterworld and the real world, I think they might be able to bring her back that way. Not that I want more Natalie Portman, but I think she did a good job in this film, so it wouldn't hurt to bring her back.
Even if they don't plan on it immediately, they at least set up to where if they want to in the future, they could.
They could, but also you gave her the nice send off.
That's what I'm saying. So like they don't have to, but they set it up to where they didn't necessarily close that chapter. They may never even come back to this, but now if they want to, they have it.
Yeah, it's been introduced. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was interesting.
I think I would put it probably somewhere in the middle. I'm not quite sure. We got to let it marinate, see it multiple times now. And you always got to watch it at home because that's a lot different than seeing it in the theater.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I felt when I first saw Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I didn't like it as much as I did after rewatching it. Because, you get more anticipation. Like you've seen it, but, now you can understand it. And I think the same thing here is going to be true with Thor: Love and Thunder. Like I said, I think it's a solid film, a solid entry into the MCU and a standalone hero film. But as far as on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll probably give it maybe a 7.5.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
7.5 stars.
Yeah, I was thinking 7.5.
I like the soundtrack. Guns N' Roses, they went really well with the 80s theme of the movie. So I like who they brought on. The actor for Hercules, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know his name, and I was unfamiliar with him. I never seen Ted Lasso.
Yeah, Ted Lasso. That's it.
Yeah,
it's like Brett Goldstein or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for the future of Thor.
Is it the best movie I've seen this year? No. Still think Batman was better.
Well, yeah, it's not better than the Batman. It's not better than Spider-Man No Way Home.
Well, that was technically last year.
Well,
still, it's in consider. Yeah, it's not better than that. But yeah, still very good. Well done. Well done. Because I was kind of iffy after Ragnarok of like, I mean, well, not like I hated it, but I was just like, okay, we'll see what it goes. I usually go see the Marvel MCU movies, like even.
Yeah, us three, we always see them really quick.
Most of the comic book movies, I'm pretty much down to see it. All right, so our next on the agenda is Black Panther. Yeah, so that's going in November.
We know practically nothing about that.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. But thank you to all the people who have been commenting, who are watching. Thank you so much. Keep the views up. Share it with your friends, and hit the like button. Push the notification button and keep being your great selves. Let us know what your thoughts were and if there's any other movies coming up that you might want to see, because Black Panther doesn't come out till November. So we can do a movie before that. There's a lot of time.
Oh no, we will be. We will be. We're going to review Nope.
Yeah, we're going to be.
They'll do that.
Jordan Peele's newest entry, Hope. I'm sorry, Nope.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. That's for sure.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. It's your boy, Big Joshy.
Max.
We'll see you next time.
Legacy.
Out.
Bye.